attract to my yard. And if you look at your sheet, not only is food important, if you want to attract birds permanently, you want to be able to provide them with water if possible, shelter, and nesting sites. Now, they don't have a lot of birdhouses here this week, but I understand within the next couple of weeks, they'll have the chickadee and bluebird houses, which you need to get up in the next couple of weeks. My favorite food for attracting birds is sunflower seed and the black oil. And that can be expensive, but what I do is I take another mix. And what I do is I bump it up a little bit, mix it in with the 15 or 20 pounds of black oil, and I get a little bit more mileage out of it. And I attract a lot more birds. This bird here is very interesting. This bird is a red-bellied woodpecker. 5 years ago, they were not seen north of New Jersey. With the warming climate, this year's bird count, 40 were seen throughout the state. So they're nesting here and they are staying here. So keep your eye out. They're different than other woodpeckers. They're very large. They're the size of a flicker, and sometimes they're mistaken for flickers, but they've got a bright red head on the back. I'm going to pass these around. Some of these, this is a Baltimore Oriole, and yes, they do love oranges. You should be able to get these guys pretty easily. Every once in a while, look who comes to see if you can't get something. And here is the red-bellied woodpecker on their feeder. Does anybody know what this is?
Indigo bunting.
Indigo bunting. I've got them every year now.
Wow.
What town is that?
Waldoboro.
Okay.
I'm on 220 South, the old Blue Sky Farm was. That's the Three Forests Preserve. It's almost 5,000 acres of undeveloped land. It's the largest undeveloped tract of land on the coast between here and Acadia National Park. So, starting with the basics, which is easy, the cardinals and your downy woodpeckers and your hairy woodpeckers, which are just larger than a downy, will you can put sunflower seed in these chips, or this is what I use. I use this Stokes here for black oil, and all the birds will go on it. Now, the interesting thing is, I was talking to Dr. Ticky. She's got a particular problem with suet. Mine's raccoons. Hers are unwanted starlings and some other birds. They make this new suet feeder, which is upside down. Starlings, blue jays, and there's certain birds that will not take and hang or climb. In fact, you'll notice the cardinals, most of the time, will not go to a swinging feeder, that they'll either feed on the ground or they will go to a platform feeder. The platform feeders do attract got a large amount of starlings apparently in the area.
Do they have those here?
Excuse me?
Do they sell those suet?
Yes, yes, everything you see, they've got 10 times, they've got a ton of feeders out there. The thing that they don't have is, right now, is the birdhouses. So, I do a combination, black oil, sunflower seed, add a little bit of a mix to bump that up. This is interesting. I use the other one. There's a cradle, a standard one. It fits a block of suet, but the raccoons can get it. So what I have to do is I put a couple of screws over the top of the suet. And I feed the suet year round. All right, that attracts. So that attracts your chickadees, nuthatches. There's also the nuthatches are red-breasted and regular white ones that look like they have a tuxedo. And of course, you also get the squirrels. Now, they have a variety of squirrel battles. So the weight of the squirrel comes on here, it shuts down, and then they learn that they can't get the food. So if you got a problem with squirrels, this one works pretty good. No. Probably not. It gets the gray squirrels. The gray squirrels, I've got them in hordes. They're going through more bird food than the birds are.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, I've had a a squirrel feeder, you know, squirrel feeder. Which looks great with the gray, but the red or not, that I've had is not quite high enough. So it's-
I gave up. If you Animal Planet every once in a while has a thing called Squirrel Wars, and they're amazing. They'll leap from a tree to a branch, slide down a piece of rope, go onto a little dolly just to get to a piece of food. They figured it out. I gave up. I just gave up. These two feeders are interesting. We are seeing a lot of Baltimore Orioles. They do come here. You take an orange, slice it in half, put it on either end. Nobody else usually goes after the oranges except the Baltimore Orioles. And I can tell you they work. This is for nectar for the Baltimore Orioles. And they sell the orange nectar. This is one of my favorite pictures, and I get them every year. I had a platform feeder. Now I have a post with the screws on it like this, and it works. Hummingbirds. You should start seeing them pretty soon. It doesn't matter. I'm lazy. I use the pre-mixed. Comes in white and red. Supposedly the white is better for the birds. That's right, it's got a red dye. First we were worried about people, now people were worried about the birds, so now they don't dye it. So I like this small little Stokes. It works great. I hang it out over my deck, so it's just underneath the gutter. And I'm constantly filling it, and I have usually 4 or 5 of these little guys eating all the time. And I have found mine now. I go outside, I open this up, and I was putting it in, getting ready to put it away, and they will actually land on the feeder. I'll be holding it in my hand. So what I did was I sat on my deck, put this on the railing. And at first they're a little shy, then you pull it closer, you pull it closer, you put it closer. You want to bring it to your lap or whatever, they'll take it. They're very bold. Yes?
My hummingbirds are very territorial, and so I have one feeder on one side of the house, and they will fly over the house and fly over the
They are very territorial. The male will take up a position on a tree branch, and if anybody goes near the feeder, so I have a second one in my garden. I have a small tube one. They make this in just a small tube that you can hang on a shepherd's hook. And so I have a part because he can't defend both at the same time.
I don't want to be
Rick, I was told that you have one male and lots of females.
What's that?
One male and lots of females.
Yes, yes. That's a good point. I usually see 3 or 4 males, but I never see more than one female at a time. Yeah. All right. So what else? So that covered sunflower seed, the suet I feed year round. The only thing I don't have out here, that especially during the winter, is Niger seed thistle. I have a thistle feeder, and all of my finches are using it. This was a really slow year for finches. The finches that you'll get are purple house finches, which are different. The house finch story is interesting. They have a bright red cap, you can tell. That's a house finch. In the 1960s, they were illegally imported from California to JF, and were going through JFK. And the people that had them got the word that they were going to be taken by customs. So they let hundreds of these birds loose, and they've populated the East Coast. Your purple finch has kind of like looks like somebody scruffed up his head. Does anybody have a particular question? So that covers it. Black oil sunflower seed is your holy grail for getting the birds to your yard. Most of them will eat that. The insect eaters like the suet better because of the energy that they get. That's your chickadees, nuthatches, etc. Hummingbird feeder, Baltimore Oriole, and then finally your finches, either Niger or the black thistle. Does anybody have any particular questions?
I must have, the reason you don't have the goldfinches is I think they're all in my yard.
No, they're mine.
Lots. Lots of them.
It was a slow, I did not have a lot of them during the winter, and within the last few weeks, we started filling up with goldfishes. And the males are getting their yellow color.
Yep.
How do they make the yellow color? I have some that ventured over and I forget as many as 12 of them. And in the winter they both look like females.
Yes, they do.
And then one day they turn bright yellow.
It's the food that they eat. It's,
But they don't molt. I mean, I've never seen them in a stage of no feathers.
what happens is when the actual thistle or some of the other plants and seeds are available to eat it, they get their yellow. You can force them. They make a food that you can give them to make them yellow. It's the same
I'm just
flower.
amazed that actually in one day they turned yellow.
Yes, yeah, it's quite the transformation.
Is it pumped up, down, in the center of the water?
I don't know. It's systemic. It's what they ingest and what they eat that causes the color. And the weather has something to do with it too. Yeah. Well, it's nature's way of protecting them. This is a bright yellow bird in the white snow. It's like my snowshoe hares. I don't think anybody has them. Mine are half and half right now.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Ladies' Day. I have 3 more names to announce in our door prize drawing. Cindy Wade, Melanie Jakes, and Sally Johns. We have Cindy Wade, Melanie Jakes, and Sally Johns. If you're in the store, please come to the customer service desk and claim your prize. And thanks for joining us today.
If you're really into the birding, one of the sites that you want to look at, and I should have written it down in it, it's Cornell's site. It's called All About Birds. It's one of the best birding sites on the internet. And one of the things we finish is housing. Each type of bird, nuthatch, chickadee, bluebird, robin, cardinals, have different preferences for housing. Depends on the size of the hole. It depends on how high or how low you have it. Cardinals and robins, they make just a shelf. It looks like a plain square shelf with sides. And you put it 7 to 9 feet off the ground, and my cardinals will take it and build a nest and stay out. I have chickadee houses. Chickadees are the same thing. They're about 8 to 12 feet off the ground, but it's the size of the hole that the red squirrels make bigger so they can't get in there. Cardinals, robins on shelves. The bluebird houses, 6 to 8 feet. I've got mine in 4x4 poles, and on my fence posts, I don't have them out there because they have the mealworms. And this is the time of year to put out mealworms for the bluebirds. That will attract them once you get into it. I've been trying for purple martins. I haven't had much luck, but it takes years for them to find the housing. So does anybody have a particular question on either bird or?
On popcorn feeders, I've just been using the top of an old table.
That's all you need to do, but the one thing you need to do is sweep it once a month. Take a spray bottle with light bleach, clean it, because there are infections that they can pass from one bird to another if the platform is.
The problem I'm having is that the seeds get down between the boards, and the woodpeckers and the squirrels make those slots bigger. Is there a good surface to use that they're not going to eat the feeder itself?
Well, I would recommend, you can buy fly-through feeders. They look like a house.
Yeah.
And all 4 sides are open. And it comes with the platform in there, and it keeps the seed from getting wet. One of the biggest problems with an open platform feeder, if the food doesn't get eaten right away, it gets moldy.
Yeah.
And the birds will get sick from it. I clean them out once a month. I let them take them down one day, I get out the hose, I take a spray bottle, bleach. Yeah, you don't have as big a problem with feeders like these, with the food being covered. She mentioned, she's got a platform feeder with no cover. So whatever falls in the cracks or whatever rots starts to grow, sometimes the sunflower seeds will actually grow themselves. But it gets mold. There's an eye disease that's been decimating some of the purple finches and whatever. So it's important to keep them clean.
But even the covered ones, we must have to clean them
What I do is I let them run it, you know, one day I let it run down, I fill my other feeders. I have like 3 or 4 different feeders. And all I do is I just spray it, let it sit for a minute. You don't need a lot of bleach, you only need a few drops in the spray bottle. If it offends you, the smell, you put too much in. Bleach is an amazing disinfectant. And at night, when you look out under your feeders, you'll see black and white kitties. And this year, I have them, and I've had reports from several other people who are working to trap them. I have a rat, but it's a woodland rat. It's not a Norway rat. They're cute. They're like a pack rat family. And he took up home underneath the feeder, and anything they drop goes down. So the only reason I want to move them is the holes that they're amazing. They're safe, but the other thing is if you have dogs or whatever, you live in a rural area and you're tracking these types of animals, I recommend that your dog for leptospirosis. This is a disease. That's it. I don't have anything else profound to say. You're welcome.